Hey everyone, it's Alisha here at Cosmic Gateway. For the last couple of days, I've been having the urge to just record snippets of updates, information, observations, or things that I'm processing or going through in audio format just to be able to get it out in the moment. So I hope that you enjoy this little update, and if you like it and you want to hear more, please let me know in the comment section. As I'm recording this, I'm currently out in one of my most favorite nature spots, beautiful park, enjoying the sun. So if you do hear any background noise, that is why. And I apologize in advance, but hopefully we'll get this short recording out, and just some of the things that have been really kind of spinning around in my mind, probably for the last 3 days, since the end of last week. So if we go back to last Thursday, Friday, it was quite apparent to me that we were on the precipice of quite a large timeline shift, like a collective shift. There's different indicators or sensations that I go through in my body that present as knowing, okay, we're actually kind of really changing gears here. And in all honesty, I hadn't had those come through in a really, really long time. So it was 2 nights of very intense energetic shifting. So that, would have created a lot of confusion or restlessness, a lot of exacerbated mental state. And then as we kind of clicked in and through the weekend, there feels like there's this emptying out process that's occurring, kind of like a neutralizing or blank slate energy. It's trying to clear and purify a lot of accumulative templates that we've gathered. So this ties into a couple of different threads. Just over 12 months ago, I did a post sharing this kind of information that I felt we were on the precipice of Ascension 2.0. Since that time, I hadn't thought much about it, but that energy has been really heightened again in the last, about week or 10 days. And then when I got the memory pop up about that post, I was like, I feel like we're in this energy again, but it's a lot more grounded. It's probably impacting a lot more people. And it's very, very pronounced. So I have found myself going back into memories and just feeling the same energetic presence of 10 years ago, of 2015. And I know that March was pivotal, and then all these dramatic shifts and changes kind of preceded that, but it felt like I said March, I meant May. May was the deciding factor, and it feels like we're up at this point. I feel like this fractals off into 3 different groups or portions or people that are on different timelines. But what it feels like is this kind of stair step. If you look at a step that has 3 steps to it, feels like there's different groups or people on energetic bandwidths on the different stairs, but it feels like we're all taking that big leap or step up. So what we're in the process now of doing, and I feel like that probably will become a lot more apparent and culminate towards the end of the month, where we'll notice that kind of moving into the next octave, or that Ascension 2.0. So for people who've been on the path for quite some time and are proactively, kind of in alignment with their soul's work, gone through a lot of the process of unraveling and healing and initiations and everything that it's evolved, it feels like we have got to I think everyone has in their own bandwidth, like a glass ceiling, where we are about to step or break out of the loop that has been part of what we've had to go through as part of the Ascension to get to where we I think it's true that a lot of the times when we first crack open and have an awakening or a cosmic awakening, we get glimpses into what we know, what's coming, and then we work progressively towards it. But often we loop in very similar patterns, and we don't quite get to that point. And that, I think, is very true personally and collectively. And I think we're on the threshold of really, or a lot more people are breaking out of that cycle that we've kind of been spinning in. Or sometimes we actually cross over and come out of it, but it's not maintained or solidified in the physical. It can happen through consciousness. But it feels like where we're kind of at is a bit more of a game changer of a lot of people at once kind of moving beyond that threshold. So that group, let's say perhaps awakening and going through their process pre-2020, feeling quite established on the path, but knowing that there's more. It's like the soul mission 2.0 is energetically is trying to come up underneath and like either merge or amalgamate or enhance what has already been doing to take it to that next level. So this could be influencing if you work in any form of service or healing or alternative modalities. It may be new techniques. It just feels like there's a lot more coming online and available that is leading edge in that realm. And that's just one of many. You don't have to be an active healer. It comes in many forms. Artists, people who just humanitarians. There's so many different facets of people that are doing their own part, working towards the ascension process. Some people are just frequency holders, and it doesn't really, their vocation, so to speak, or day job is seemingly irrelevant at this phase of the game, because it's their frequency that's needed in those jobs, in those environments, in those locations. But so it's that those people who are very aware of who they are, what they're here to do, coming across stumbling blocks, or at least have done, about to kind of reach or touch the beginning of the threshold of really stepping into everything they knew was possible from the beginning that maybe haven't been fully actualized, solidified, or achieved. Then there's a group that maybe have gone through a great portion of their awakening but have had trouble to really step on to stepping into, the creation of what they're here to do, and getting over the barriers of, either putting themselves out there or speaking their truth or setting up, laying down the foundations of actually creating something that is their own. They have all this experience and awareness and knowledge, but it's about bringing that into the world in some capacity, creating something, creating a new lifestyle, like implementing those fundamental changes that will inevitably kind of bring a lot more fulfillment and lifestyle changes that's soul aligned. Then there's this other group that I have been feeling into or leaning into perhaps a lot more, and I feel like these are the people who've had the calling but for whatever reason have denied it, gone back into matrix style experiences, jobs, relationships. So they've had snippets, they've come into some, but it feels like it hasn't been the time, or they've denied their choice points in some capacity. And I feel like this ties into May's choice points, that is pushing those people. And the image that I get as I say this now, it's like everyone leaps and it's like everything becomes amalgamated, much more integrated into the same timeline. So the jump may be a lot further stretch for others. But in this particular group, it's like those that have the, let's say, the knowledge and the information, but they've gone back to sleep, or they've choose to shy away from it, or it's been in the too hard basket. I feel like potentially there's a lot more of an abrupt shake-up in that, because I feel like those people in that specific group that I'm talking about, they hold really important ascension frequencies, or have a very important critical role to play. So it's depending on where the delays have been or the misalignment, it's like breaking those things apart to get them into quite a quick consolidated repositioning, if you will. And that's where I kind of align or look at that 10-year cycle that I'm talking about, when it all kind of began May, and like every aspect of my life had to get realigned. And I feel like there's definitely a group that is probably about to go through that. Maybe not as extreme, maybe I think it really just depends on the resistance levels and the individual. So that's what I keep seeing, is this like 3-step process, but we're all at the top of that glass ceiling and it's about to burst through. I see it as a lot of blue light. That light blue frequency, light energy is very prevalent again. It feels like that's just sitting at the top. And I think what actually brings that through, or this next shift, is a really en masse kind of next level of soul walking integration energy trying to land. So that may be part of the rearranging that's occurring, is that sometimes it can't land if you're currently in that space, or you haven't cleared or filtered out to create like a comfortable landing space, if you will. And I think that's where we're at right now, is this emptying out phase. It feels like every day I feel like I'm filtering and emptying out. And I think this is part of wanting to do these audios, is there's so much information, but until you kind of clear it and speak it, or speak to someone, it kind of buffers in the field. It's just holding unnecessary space. So at a night time, I have been diligently working with a lot of purification, platinum energy, just to neutralize all that's going on, because this also ties into the changes that we're witnessing in the physical body of this diamond frequency upgrade. The solidification can't occur with these really profound changes if we're holding on to what I was shown last night, was these like energetic structures or templates from the point of awakening till now. And it's like we've had to wear different suits, wear different templates that are not fully aligned with our soul's blueprint, to be able to get through those challenges and initiations and experiences. And it feels like that's what's being dropped right now. And we're being asked to release the trauma associated with healing the trauma, if that makes sense. The experiences that have been, and I think a lot of the predominant energy that I can feel that kind of moves in and out is like that. There's like at the lower end of the spectrum is that hopelessness, the disappointment. I saw all this and it didn't come to fruition, or it didn't come through in the ways that I thought. Dates, timings, interferences that have taken place that have kind of, we've got to critical points and then the bottom's been dropped down, a timeline shifts. So it's like the expectations too come into that hugely. I think the beautiful thing about this phase and what is coming through right now is I don't know what's on the other side of this. I can feel into it, but I have no visual expectations. And that's where always the greatest shift occurs. So I think the mental stuff is really highlighted, because each shift always starts with an expansion of consciousness. So we have to let go of any programmed thoughts or looping thoughts of this is how it is, to be open to I don't know, and allow the new ways of concepts and ideas and inspiration and frequencies that is directly soul led, or coming directly from the soul, the oversoul, to come in. And that takes a time of adjustment. So when I was going to bed last night, I think there was a lot of deep emotional processing over the weekend, feeling that lower end of the spectrum of a lot of those emotions and memories that were really coming up to the surface. And as I went to bed, that's where I was seeing these templates So I was seeing two different things. I was seeing the templates that are outdated, that were never our true templates. They were just costumes or suits that we were given, that were needed and that were necessary, and now we're coming back to stripping all of that away. When I had my own personal experience of being able to break out of the loop, the concept that I was given months previously was that we're taking all the threads of the highest points of our ascension path, of when we've hit the highest frequency, banding it together and embodying it. What was corrected or shown to me last night was that was only part of the process. Now it's like integrating the highest and the lowest points and consolidating it into one cube, if you will, that's then neutralized and embodied within us, that allows us to step through this next threshold or doorway. Another thing that had been really strongly present in my field is around how much interference we've had to deal with that was outside of our control. And, obviously I've spoken quite a bit about the spider beings of recent past, and that's just one of many embodiments that can come through. And so as I went to bed last night, as I was lying down, I could feel how much was bubbling to the surface to try and release. And this is the other point that I have been getting really strongly for the last 3 weeks is, and it lines in with what I'm talking about, is there's so much trauma that's stored in our bodies from these experiences that often we oversee it or overpass it, or it can become a blind spot because it's stuck into us, into our body. That kind of keeps us weighted down. So the importance of being able to release from the cells, muscles, the physical body, stretching, walking, regular movement, yoga, things like that, massage, and keep aligning with the diamond frequencies or the new frequencies, whatever they look like for you, coming through. There's a lot that has to be processed out of the body that's been holding there. And this is relatively new stuff, I feel like, that we're processing out. None of it comes up as, it could be interfused in it, but a lot of it is, awakening till now point, to basically go beyond where we haven't been before and be prepared for that. And so I could feel this almost felt like, it's very hard to put into words, but I could feel it all through my body, of surfacing of like a layer of stuff that had been hidden or dormant for many years. Stuff that you kind of push down and you don't proactively process, potentially. And it's always connected. When I say this, it's always connected to matters of the heart in some level. So it's like whatever has shut us down or locked us off because our heart got hurt or, invested in whatever it was. But it feels like it sticks to like almost like the cells, the membrane. There's like a sticky layer within the body that's coming up for release. And as I was going to sleep and just trying to process and clear all of that, I actually was presented with like another spider being that was probably one of the most grotesque ones I've had interactions with. And I just did my usual, like, okay, acknowledge, clear. And as I was clearing this being out, it dropped a white cube into my lap. And as I opened it up or dissolved it to pull it apart, inside of it was a gold key. And I feel like the returning of the keys and the codes that have been taken from us, knowing or unknowing, whether it's literal or metaphoric, through intense initiations or interference where we've lost a part of ourselves in battle, or going in to try and do the heavy duty stuff. It's like, even if it was placed and given somewhere else to be the custodian of those important keys that we hold within us, I feel like a lot of that is being returned back. So I know that that's a lot. I thought I'd just share just the last, this is like double. We're at 20 minutes now, so I'll definitely wrap it up. I was intending just to do 10, but I would love to hear any experiences that you've been having that might be likened to that. It may be in different concepts, but it may be similar information. But that's what I feel like we're kind of working and processing through, because there feels like a very big upward swing towards the end of May. So I'll leave it there with you. I'd love to connect with you or hear how your experience is going. Please comment in the comment section below. Details for sessions and all offerings will be in the description box, and I will connect with you all soon. Much love. Bye for now.